Okay, we are on the back side of the greatest common factor and lowest common multiple worksheet that was handed out in class. And it starts with question 17 that I'm going to explain as many as I can. And feel free to pause or fast forward any parts of the video that you may need help with. So as we find the GCF, we are using the hockey stick method. And in the hockey stick method, it's basically dividing backwards, and so we're writing a division like box, like a hockey stick, but instead of the other direction, we write it backwards. So we're looking for what can divide by both 12 and 14. So we're going to get the number 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so I write the 6 below here. And I'm going to keep the x squared for now. We'll work with the x's later. And I'm going to divide 14 by 2, which is 7, and I'm going to get x over here. Okay. Then I'm going to do another hockey stick here. And the 6 and the 7 can't be divided by any common number. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the x's. The strategy that I'm doing here when I look at the x's is I first look for the common variable. Okay? And because they both have an x, that's what I'm going to put over here. And then I look for the second thing is the smallest exponent. Okay? Because that means that they both have that many x's or whatever variable common to each other. And since there's 2 over here and 1 over here, I'm going to divide with the x out here. So I'm going to keep that as a 1 right there. So when I divide, I'm basically subtracting because it's really being taken away. So when I divide x with 6x squared, I still have the 6, but the x squared, and I take 1x out, then I only have 1x left. For the 7x, when I divide with an x, I still have the 7, but then the x, because I had 1 and I took 1 out, then I have no more x's. So that would be the work that I show for the hockey sticks. Then to find the GCF, remember I am multiplying the side numbers. So that would be the 2 and the x. So my final answer is 2x for number 17. I'm going to work my way down to number 19, and I'm going to do the hockey sticks here. I divide 15 and 25, both divide by 5. Then I get 3 under 15 and 5 under 25. I still have y cubed and x and y squared. Now I look for the common variable, just like up here, common variable. They both have a y. So when I do the second hockey stick, I write y out here. And I look for the smallest exponent for the y. Now there's a y third power and a y second power. So because 2 is the smaller, I write y second power. That means I'm going to take out that many y's from the y's that are already there in that expression. So I have over here, I still have a 3. I have y3, and I take out y2 when I divide. So all I have left is just y, just 1. And I can write the 1 or I don't have to. Over here I keep the 5. I never took out an x, so this x will just stay there. And then for the y2, I had a y2, I take out a y2, I divide, and which leaves me with no more y's. So that would be my hockey stick, I'm done. And then find the GCF again, I take the side and I multiply them. So these two are on the side. When I multiply them, I get 5y squared. Okay? And number 21, I'm going to do the hockey sticks. Take 40 and 32, and I can divide both of them, and I can start with a small number like 2. I can start with a number like 4, or I can even go up to 8. So whether or not you think of the highest number, the greatest number, then it just means you're going to do more hockey sticks. So here I'm going to do 8. And when I divide 40 with 8, I get 5. 32 with 8, I get 4. And I'm going to keep the x squared y here and the x and y squared here. Then I'm going to look for common letters. Now they both seem to have an x, and so I'm going to divide by an x. And when I divide by x, then remember I look for the smallest exponent. So there's an x2 and there's an x1. So I'm going to take an x1 out. When I take an x1 out, I will get 5 stays of 5. x2, take one x out, I just have an x. I still have a y. Over here I still have a 4. I take the x1 and the x1 goes away, so I just have a y squared. Okay, so good. So far so good. I'm going to do another hockey stick because they seem to both have a y, and I also want to find the smallest y. So y, here is a 2, but here would be a 1, so I'm going to take a y1 out. When I take the y1 out, basically I'm subtracting, it's canceling away. So I get a 5x, and over here I get a 4 and then a y. Okay, so I'm done with my hockey sticks. Again, for the greatest common factor, I take the left side and I multiply those together. So my final answer for my GCF would be 8xy. And I don't need to write the ones there. I can just leave it as 8xy. I'm going to end here in the video, and I'm not going to do 18, 20, or 22 in this video. If you'd like to watch the second part of those 3 questions, please watch the next video. Actually, I decided I'm going to keep continuing, and then as you need to pause and play or fast forward, you may do that. So number 18, I'm going to do my hockey sticks. Both those numbers divide by 3, so I get 4x squared and then 7xy. I'm going to go a little faster than earlier. I'm going to do another hockey sticks. The 4 and the 7 are okay. Now I'm going to work with the x's and the y's. Now both of them have in common an x. I'm going to write x here. I look for the smallest x. 2 and a 1 here, so 1 would be the smallest. So I'm going to take out a 1x. And then when I divide, I still have 4. x2 and then x1 dividing is just 1x left. The 7 stays there. The x1 divided by x1 cancels away. So I just have a y. I'm done with my hockey sticks, and my greatest common factor would be the 3 times the x, which makes 3x, and that would be my answer here. Number 20, we'll do a hockey stick. 39 and 9 both divide by 3. I get 13. I keep the x squared. The 9 and the 3 divide, and they get 3, and I keep the x squared. Now they both seem to have the same number of x's, so I'm going to take out x squared. That's still the lowest variable that they share in common. When I take that out, both of them leave just the variable, just the coefficient, just the numbers, and I have 13 and 3 underneath. My greatest common factor would be the side numbers, which would be the 3 and the 5 x squared, so I get 3x squared with my GCF with number 20. Number 22, hockey stick. Both those numbers divide by 4, so I'll start with 4. I get 5x cubed y. 24 divided by 4, 6x squared y. The variables stay as they were in the beginning. Another hockey stick. I'm going to take the common variables. X is common. I'll start with x. 2 is the smallest, so I write 2 here. When I divide, I'm like canceling and basically subtracting. So the 5 will stay the same. The x3 cancels with x2, so I only have 1 x left. I still have a y. And the 6 would stay the same. x2 divided by x2 gives me no more x's, but I still have a y there. My last hockey stick, I'm going to take out the common y, and then I'm going to go ahead and get 5x and 6. And my final answer will be 4x squared y.